Welcome to Season 3 of the Knack for Business podcast. Over 350 episodes strong, we're here to ignite your entrepreneurial spirit with fresh insights, networking gems, and creative strategies that elevate your game.
If you've ever struggled with speaking confidently, owning your brand story, or leveraging digital platforms to grow your influence, this episode is for you. Rich is going to share his journey of resilience, his best strategies for commanding presence, and how you can rock the stage no matter where you start. Our guest is Rich Trigger Bontrager. He is a seasoned podcaster with over 30 years of experience, known for rocking every stage, mic, and screen he steps onto. As the host of the popular Rock the Stage show, producer, and executive media consultant, Trigger has dedicated his career to helping leaders, speakers, and entrepreneurs amplify their voice and command their media presence. Despite living with a lifelong stutter, he's defied the odds to become a powerful voice in broadcasting. He also serves as the official spokesperson for the Bravehearts TV network and is set to launch The Warrior Within in the fall of 2025. From building resilience to mastering executive presence, Rich brings unyielding passion and expertise to every conversation. Get ready for a powerful conversation and discussion. You don't want to miss this one. Trigger, it is absolutely a pleasure to have you here. Trigger, it's really good to see you, Terry, and welcome.
Thanks, guys. Well, great to be back with you once again, Wayne, Bernie, and great introduction, man.
That's the beauty of a podcast. Rewind and hit play.
I can't believe I've lived that career. That's the amazing part.
So your journey from being a kid to mastering the media, what kept you going? Having a stutter is an impediment to casting a great soliloquy, and you got past that. How did you make that happen?
Number one, I was driven by my imagination. I believe, because I was told by parents and friends, in America, we can do anything. I actually believed that as a kid, but I also had this amazing imagination. I saw myself, and I did do pretend imaginary conversations, interview talk shows, play-by-play. Even when I stuttered, I would do that in front of the TV. I saw myself as Johnny Carson. I saw myself as Brent Musburger. And it drove me to say, I can do this. That was number one. I believed.
So you've also been into sports broadcasting too. That's live and dynamic. If you're doing a live play-by-play moment, that's also off the cuff. It's almost like doing improv, except that you're following the bouncing ball or the puck.
Well, that's what opened it up for me. When I realized I could not do hard news, I tried to do hard news, college, broadcasting professors, and everyone wanted me to read the teleprompter, do the hard news. I got emotional. I got tongue-tied. My eyes don't work the best, so I was like the ticker tape machine going back and forth with the teleprompter. And they're like, "You're a train wreck, man. You're never gonna make it." When I got into sports broadcasting, which is where I always wanted to be, I loved Harry Carey and all the other sports announcers. I could be in the moment. I could tell the story. I could do the action. And when I found out I don't need a script, I can just be here, it opened up the entire world for me. My entire career changed, my voice, my confidence that we'll talk about, all that changed because now I did not read someone else's words. It was 100% me in the moment. And still to this day, that's really what I shine with. I don't use a lot of scripts. I come in and we go for it live.
On Wizard of Oz, ignore the man behind the curtain. I sometimes have joked about being a depressed motivator. How do you keep your persona sincere when you get the gut punches that come in life?
I will share them. Now, I won't share them at the depth, but I will be honest and transparent. I'll let people know, hey, earlier today I was doing a recording and my tongue took me 20 takes to get one line out. I will sometimes share the bloopers. It is part of the journey to be authentic and be in this space. And it's, as we're recording this, it's National Stutter Awareness Week. We can no longer hide the secret of stuttering. That's what we do. As stutterers, I don't want you to know this. But part of being, I think, a leader and influence, you need to tell the truth and the whole truth. Part of my mission is To keep doing what I do with the media side, being a great host, great producer, creator, at the same time, I need to reveal the truth that we're just normal people that have a speech impediment. It does not mean we're stupid. It does not mean we're ignorant. It does not mean we're slow. We're just as creative and bright as you are. Sometimes we just can't get it from our brain to our mouth in the proper order. I think that's part of what you're really asking about. As a kid, I was bogged down. I was a nightmare. I came home crying. I was bullied. I was picked on. The names were Bontrager. Okay. Butt booger, bomb booger. It went on and on. It crushed me as a kid. But now as an adult, I understand that was my war wounds to learn how to be authentic, how to be real, and understand the pain of other people.
I'm guessing you're my demographic. I'm early 60s. And the interesting thing is when we were growing up, we had 2 or 3 channels. I remember it was so exciting when we got color, not black and white. If you just organize the antenna a bit, which means that if you're a media star, there's 8 of you. In North America, there's 8 of you. If you're not one of those 8, which you dream you're going to be,
Right.
you're done. You have found a different path to create a media that 20 years ago didn't even exist.
Yes. Believe me, if streaming content was here 20 years ago, if I would have started my career with the tools that I have now, my own home studio, streaming live, quality production, then I would have been a blown up, much bigger deal than I even am now. The world has changed, and that's part of where I learned to adapt. As I was doing sports work, conglomerate stations began to buy other stations. We were absorbed, gobbled up. Cumulus, iHeartRadio, all those big names began to eat up the small town radio stations, and they would brand them iHeartRadio. It used to be Elkhart, Indiana. It now was iHeartRadio, and that was more important than Elkhart, Indiana. So as that shift happened, we lost jobs. I love Ryan Seacrest. I think he's a great guy, but I do pick on Ryan. I talk about the fact his voice was everywhere now. You could drive across the country and hear Ryan Seacrest all across the country. He's on every station. The satellite began to change that scope of local was important, and the voice and the personality became more important. So you're right. We lost jobs. Now, thankfully, I was in the sports world. Sports play-by-play, you're always going to need a live guy. You're always going to need an Al Michaels. You're going to need someone that can do the job for you. Staying in that lane helped me a lot more. I'm glad I got out of the music. I never wanted to be a jock. That helped a lot. But then when streaming platform came along, audio podcasts are great. I love audio podcasts, but I knew I did not want to be an audio podcast guy. I came out of radio. I finally feel good on camera. I enjoy playing to it. And people said I'm actually pretty good. So I wanted to get to video. YouTube was the first step. Streaming content started to come along. When I talked to Hollywood producers, writers, this is the new game in town, folks. Streaming TV, your own personal creative outlet, your own shows like I do and I produce for others. This is the new media empire. And to your point, Wayne, I'm poised to be in this for a very long time now.
It's interesting how you're describing this whole thing. You mentioned Ryan, for example. The name is now synonymous with a couple other shows out of the States. Do you find then that there's a persona, a brand image that your voice has? Is that you get someone to say, I make running shoes for a living, or I sell cars? Maybe a used car salesman piece. There's some characters out there already that have a brand voice. Do you think you helped yourself get a brand voice up and running so that whether it's a quirk about the person, not a bad quirk, but a quirk that becomes almost a trademark? Is that something you help bring out of the people?
Absolutely. And that is the brand voice. Right now, I'm doing commercials for Apple. I'm doing it for Apple Card, and I'm doing from Express Pro and Alliant Gold. My voice has now become recognizable. People want it. And the more distinguished your voice is, the more unique, people will hire you and say, that's the character voice that we want. And you may not be a character, but your voice may be a character. So think about Mel Blanc. He can do any voice. All the Warner Brother cartoons that he did over and over. He has 18 different dialects he could do. You didn't know it was James Doohan doing commercials because he would change his voice. So yes, you now are the brand. I tell people you are the brand. It is your voice. It's your personality. It's your on-camera presence. It is even your clothes and attire that you wear. You now are the brand. Just recently, I was reading about the TV show Once Upon a Time on ABC. One of the main characters always had the short bobbed hair. She always said that in every TV show, every film she was ever in. I just found out that was a decision by her to say, I want to be distinctive. I want my fans to know it's me. It's the real me. She decided the hair will never change. It's in her contract. She will not change her hair. That's someone who knows her brand. She knows the power of her brand and her personality. And now people will always know that's Jennifer.
I got a second question as a follow. So, person's talking, and I've seen these quips happen before. You'll have some serious video setting, and it shows two world leaders having a chat. There's some underlying tension, right? But someone comes in and does a voiceover and make them sound like, Daffy Duck and, picking a cartoonish character, and they're chatting, and it becomes a comedy, right?
Yes.
Do you help a person come across like world leaders, not so much for the entertainment of the meme? It drives home a point. Satire is that way. But do you help a person then pick the voice? If you're talking about, say, Apple products, right? They have to have a certain sound effect. Or if you're talking skateboards or video games, vernacular is going to be different, but also the pace and tempo. Do you help the person get into that space?
Yes, absolutely do. I do. I help them work with what they naturally have. And you're right. I mean, Apple Card wants that deeper voice. So I do play with the voice. I help people figure out how to play and modulate. So you have to learn a different vernacular and understand you have to make it sound like it's natural for you. And that's why you practice, you rehearse. Often with voiceovers, I tell people to stand up. Because to stand up, you become the character. You start using your body language, you start leaning in, and it takes on a different tone than just sitting down and reading the script. And that's many of the coaching tips. People don't understand what else you need to do beyond the voice. The physical side helps the voice come alive. They're focused on the voice. I'm focused on the entirety of that. So I'm going to pick on our dear friend Wayne here for a second. Sometimes Wayne would be a great church mouse. And if there's a church mouse commercial, Wayne could do the church mouse commercial. And that's where I would work with them and help them understand this is not a detriment. Go to where your voice goes, and people are more apt to go, I'm looking for that voice, and I want that guy. And that's
one thing that encourages me, especially with a bit of your story and a little bit of rock the stage and your journey.
Yep.
You made some courageous moves. And something I like to ask from my guests is the aha moment and the train wreck. Sadly enough, the train wreck usually is a better story. But tell me about a courageous move that did and a courageous move that didn't work, if you can.
So we'll start with the courageous move. The courageous move unlocked my entire career. So I love acting. I always wanted to be an actor. My parents, of course, everyone's never going to happen. I actually did audition, got put into a Christian drama where I was a big bad Roman soldier for 10 weeks for the summer. I stutter, and all the time preparing for it, I could practice at home. But when I worked with my colleagues, my cast members, the stutter would kick in. So the whole week of the final run through, we're going to perform on a Friday night before over 300 people. It's a test run before we head out for 10 weeks. And our director came up and told our cast members, me with them, if Rich can't do it tonight, we have to scrap the play. And it was a 40-minute performance. That was our main thing. Or we can do puppets all summer because he does do character voices really well. And I'm like, yeah, that's not what I want to do. And neither did the rest of the cast. We went out and I hit every mark, every cue, every voice inflection. When I was going to be intense, I was intense. And as I did it in real time, I remember looking at the cast members and they were literally looking at each other, looking at me, staying in character going, where did Rich go? Because I was a completely different person. I was the character. I was the Roman soldier. I was doing everything that you wanted an actor to do. And what I learned that night, and we went backstage, the director's crying now, and the director's like, he's gonna go do it. So go, get out of here. What I learned was I have to be all in. And other actors have talked to us. Emily Blunt talks about her stutter, and she talked about the very same thing. Bruce Willis talked about his stutter. When I take on the skin of another character, I have to be all in. And Bruce is gone, character is in. When I learned that lesson, it opened up the whole broadcast world in no way, because I had to go all in with the broadcast, with the personality. I had to turn that switch on and go all the way in. Now, the train wrecks were often personal ones. I'll tell you a personal one. This will get you to laugh, you guys. My stutter was terrible with asking girls out. The number one thing for stutter is introducing yourself. And Richard Bontrager, R's and B's are often hard. So I'm trying to be cool, slick. My cousin's cool, and I'm not. I'm awkward. My eyes don't work right. I'm deaf in one ear, so my head's kind of turning different ways. I am an absolute mess. And I'm asking this girl out. We're already dating a little bit. I can't get the words out. I'm sitting there and I'm talking with her, and it won't come. And she starts teasing me. I did not like being teased about my stutter at all. Finally, she says, take a breath. I know you're going to ask me out. I know you have something special planned. I'm already going to say yes. So just relax and be yourself and know you got this. And I started to laugh with her and play along with her teasing. It wasn't teasing me. It was teasing the funny situation that actually was funny. So the train was, I can't do this without her teasing me. So you need to tease me more so I can do this better.
True. That's not a train wreck. That's a success story.
In the moment, it was a train wreck, brother.
A quick message. Got a mug in hand? Good, because freshly brewed coaching is best served with your favorite roast. Join Wayne Pratt and Matt Hawksley as they spill the beans on how everyday pros, just like you, can use real coaching tools to level up their careers, teams, and mindset. It's bold, it's real, it's freshly brewed.
Rich, after 350 podcasts, is looking at the personalities of entrepreneurs. I am absolutely fearless with a mic. But I look at your business and in a certain way, Bernie's business, and I say Bernie's business, I mean our business, and I have no tech stack. I'm absolutely fearless with a mic, but don't tell me about RRS feeds. I just don't know. How can you be so bipolar enough to deliver the tech of the complete zany silliness, and yet now we have to hit this button here 7 times? Do you hire it out? Did you get lucky? Did you work even though you hated it? Those are 2 different worlds.
An original broadcaster, I ran my own studio. So I got used to being the voice on mic. Again, no one saw me, but I was the voice doing this. As streaming content and self-producing came along, I am a producer. I love producing original content. I love helping people bring their dreams to life, creating it. So I am a producer. So now with using Restream and other products out there, my dashboard, my studio is right here. And so, yes, there is an art to being able to talk with their hands, talk with their head, push a little button casually, and know you're going to keep on good doing. I've had people try it. They call me up and go, I don't look like you. And I want to look like you. And I work with them and coach them, or they decide they can't do it and they need to be here. You're right. The talent needs to be here. So I work with other people from around the world, and I produce shows, special events, live stream podcasts to help them be where they need to be. And I can make them look better by not having all the chaos. So it is kind of crazy to think I can wear 2 hats at once and not stutter at the same time. It's fun.
You get them to wear a Roman soldier hat and outfit just to get them into the mood.
I wish I had the outfit. I really do. But I do like swords. So yes, I probably could pull out my sword.
When you're helping someone get over not the phobia, but just practice the art of talking, use improv? You tell them you go on a stage, not necessarily a comedy house or, just for laughs down in Moya, but do you get them to do kind of an improv to practice that art of just delivering it, just go with the flow. Know something, some of your script?
Yeah, you start with the script. People have to get confidence of their words. They have to get confidence of their story, their narrative. They have to figure out how to weave it. Learning transitions is a huge thing. People really struggle with story, fact. Well, you have to have a transition to make that really flow and feel natural. Otherwise, it feels like you're a human PowerPoint. And people don't want a human PowerPoint. They want a storyteller. They want someone to engage with them. So helping them understand the script, their transitions, to the point where I tell people you need to ooze it out. It needs to naturally flow out. And then the ad-libbing comes in where there's a cough, a door slams, a kid starts crying. You have to be able to not lose your train of thought. Do react to the crowd. Or if you have a lady that's smiling, just laughing at all your jokes, thank you, ma'am. This is great. I'm glad you're here, mom. Crack a joke about it and go back to your thing. That's another art that comes with you learning, I know my stuff. I can jump out here and I can go back here and make it feel like I didn't skip a beat. But you're right. It's not yuck. I'm a sarcastic guy. My sarcasm has got me into big trouble over the years. I have been coached to tone it down a little bit and use it right. But when I'm on stage or on shows, my sarcasm is the number one thing to help me do some of that transitioning and come back to where I want to be. That's a lot of the coaching too. You have to learn the personality. One-on-one coaching is the only way I know to do this. You cannot do a recorded seminar teaching people to shine on camera, shine on stage, and elevate their brand the way I coach them. You cannot do it in a recording. I have to have interactive live coaching with you so I can take you from where you are to where you're at. And there's no other way to say, hey, wait a second, back up. Let's give that a try in real time. It doesn't work any other way.
So I'm an extreme extrovert. Sometimes when I get bored, I work a funeral, even if I don't know the guy. Having said that, I looked at this video where everything's video now. What do painful introverts, possibly even people with a learning disorder, maybe even on a spectrum, do when it looks like the train left the station with them not on it?
Great question. I'm working more and more with those people because we do want to be on camera. We do want to tell the stories. People that stutter have different techniques. They find a rhythm off camera, and that rhythm helps them stay. Their stutter will be lessened than what it was. There's people that do have a stutter or a cadence. Deaf people have that thicker tongue sound. They have to learn how to do that, but slow down and sometimes even break up their words. So they have a 3-consonant long word something. They may break it up. And to you and I, it may sound a little bit off, but to them, it becomes part of their persona. So they have to learn how to make those come alive more and more. It is getting comfortable in that disability. There are actors that I know have hands that are not quite right. Like from MASH, remember Radar O'Reilly?
Yeah.
Gary Berghoff had a crippled left hand, always did.
Didn't know.
Carried the clipboard in the hand to cover the hand. There's only like 2 or 3 episodes where his hand actually pops and you can see it's not quite a functional hand. An amazing career. Amazing. He found a way to use it and still stay in character. What can we do to help people just feel natural and let them be themselves? When I interview people for stuttering shows that I do, I let their stutter roll. I just let them be them. And that's freeing for them. It helps educate the audience that you don't have to freak out when people have these disabilities. I think that's part of the authentic world we live in now. It used to be, let's hide it and let's edit it out. I think more and more we want to have the authentic. So part of my role, I think, as a host, as a producer, is let it roll. We're going to include it. You don't want to overdo it. People will turn out. They will get frustrated by it, but you do have to have it be in there So it seems authentic and natural for everybody. But the number one thing is they've got to feel comfortable. The number one fear is still public speaking, even more than death. People would rather die than public speak. So they have to get comfortable in this. And the only way to do that is practice and create a safe environment.
You find that people that have another mother tongue, if English is not my first language, does that actually help in this whole process? The back experience, yes, but if someone speaks another language, whether an Asian language, where the enunciation is not the same, it's not European style. Even in European style, my mom had a heavy accent, and jewelry was jewelry, and no amount of changing was going to happen. It just that's what I'm talking about, Yules. So it's like, yeah, okay. Once you understood that, right? Anybody else speaking, huh?
There is a lot of that. In fact, I just produced a podcast for somebody who lives in Ireland. The whispering Indian soft voice that will put you to sleep. It sounds magical. It sounds so great. But I had this dichotomy going back and forth, and I'm producing it as an American with a flat Indiana accent. And I'm thinking, this is whacked out because it does sound different. I talked to the host afterwards and I said, was it harder to keep your energy up? Because he is lulling you to sleep by his sweet sounding Indian voice. He goes, yeah, I feel wiped out. There is something to that. I just recently had Rosemary Ravenel, who's an international public speaker. She's worked with diplomats, actors. She is bilingual. She is Spanish and American. And her accent is somewhere in between. She's been doing this cross back and forth. So it's somewhere in between, not quite American, not quite Spanish. And she said that she stutters more in Spanish than in English, but she presents more in English. So it's interesting when you get to these language barriers, you do have to slow down. There are certain words, like you were saying, that you have to slow down. I do a lot of stuff with European people, and the English British accent is harder for me sometimes to pick up on because they run their words together. And you Canadians, you have weird sounds at the end of words, man. Let me just put that out there for everybody. They're saying like, yeah. And your O's, your O's are, I'm like, where did that come from? That's not that word.
You should come up to the Ottawa Valley. You have English, what we understand here. And you go up in the valley. It sounds like you're going to the East Coast in Newfoundland. I love the lilt. It's a nice sound, but where the heck did that come from?
Watching movies and shows where I know where it was filmed. And they're trying to be like in New York. And you'll have one of those Canadian accents. I'm like, you're not in New York, buddy.
It's the license plates and the mailboxes. Those are the two things where I know where the show's from. Every now and again, Bernie gives me a little tug, so he keeps me honest. Storytelling is 10,000 years old. It was done over fires. And then 40 years ago, we seemed to lose it. And it was all monologue, 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 monologue. What brought back storytelling?
What brought back storytelling? I really think it was comedians. I really think it's people like Jay Leno. Kevin Hart is a storyteller. He will have you cry in 1 minute, and then he'll hit you with something that saps you up to a life lesson about his father. And it's like those stories pull at all emotions, all senses. And I think that's really where it came back, where people were enthralled by that. People are tired of monologue. They're tired of public speaking. They're tired of the podium. What they want is to come into an arena and have an experience. They want to taste, touch, feel, sense, and be drawn into something. And not do that standing behind a podium, holding it, and giving the orientation very seriously with your IBM clipper doing the PowerPoint. You can't do it. We have gone to more storytelling. I tell people, if you use PowerPoint, do not use PowerPoint and have the fill in the blank and the fill in the blank and the fill in the blank. Put a picture of a tree, put a building, put kids playing in the park, and tell the story that matches the image. They will go there because you're taking them there with the story. We are now visually driven more and more. That's why the power of streaming video is so alive now. We can all be our own storytellers. That's why podcasters are popping up everywhere. That's why Bravehearts TV is helping audio podcasters take podcasts and turn them into streaming TV shows, because we want to feel and sense it. The best way to do it is to tell a story and take them on an adventure. If only business people can learn the power of a story, not the sales numbers, not the profit margin, how Aunt Susie bought your tea kettle and your tea kettle had to throw a great party for all her friends. That's the story of your tea kettle, not the whistle of the tea kettle.
We talked about other cultures, their language, and being able to orate in English. But we didn't talk or didn't touch on generational. I saw on Instagram a little meme thing, not a meme, but it was a clip. And the guy he studies language. That's what the guy does. He's talking to a high school class. He said, "You're Gen Zs." He starts talking. Everybody's sitting there going, oh God, what's going to happen to us now? And he says, hang on, I'm going to revert from my vernacular to yours. And then he started talking Gen Z. So he started using certain terms in there, right? They pan back and forth. I don't think it was staged. It was staged, yes, but it wasn't staged as in, all make believe. It was him talking and then the reaction from the crowd. That means the audience has to be receptive to the communication. That means you got to communicate to the audience and lingo that is understood by them. Like if I say the cat's meow, it's from the 30s. I'm not that old, but a lot of people get the gist of it. A couple of years ago, I was talking to a person. She says, I need to get my grills. And all I could think was Foreman, right? What she was talking about is a set of braces on her teeth. I'm thinking, why would you do that? But hey, you be you, boo. How do you get the person to turn the message so that it floats in the right spot? It has that resonance. So this week, looking for resonance, right? The story helps resonance. How you're talking, your visual action. But now, part of the story is like, if I speak to you in Latin, you may as well just go to sleep.
Right. You need to know your audience. Who are you talking to? Different industries that I've gone into, especially now that media is reaching out in the business industries. I'm talking to steel workers. Okay, what are the steel workers vernacular? What do they get into? What are their keywords for the business trade? I need to do my research so I can infiltrate their world, let them know I understand it, and then I can help them understand the media world and how it applies to their industry. But you're right. If I just talk media and I talk about stage presence, microphone presence, the camera, the lighting, the cross stage lighting of theater lighting, I have to bring it to them and understand how that works for them in their industry. The best speakers do not just go up there and do the same routine every night. It may be the same keynote. It may be the same information, but we do wrap it up in a different way for different audiences. And that's what sets the great people apart. They know how to play to their audience. I've got stories that I use over and over again. But if I can feel it not working, I've got 3 more stories that fit the same narrative that I need to insert. And I literally pulled them out of my Rolodex in my brain, and I changed the story that I plan to use because this fits the audience better now that I can read my audience. If you don't know how to do that, and you just stay with your plan, script, and come hell or high water, I'm going to do that story, you're dead. Absolutely dead.
It sounds like my math teacher in high school. Right.
There's analytical people that think I have to do it this way. Creatives, there is no box. Don't make me do it the same way twice. I'm going to give you the same information. But part of the fun is there's a fun, new, fresh way to do this again.
Trigger, in my 350 podcasts, almost every guest has a desire to inform. Bernie's found a way to make it entertaining. But there's always an ask, what do you want our listeners to do that they're not doing? And possibly, if it involves you, how they get a hold of you?
Great question. Thank you for that sales pitch opportunity there. I love to coach people and help people shine on camera, shine on mic. I do. I love this industry. We are now involved globally. Every business, everyone is on camera somewhere. If you don't believe that, your neighbor has you on the Ring camera I would love to help you learn how to elevate your game. Our messages are important. Your company is important. And like never before, you are the Ryan Seacrest of your own company. You are the brand. You, not your toy, not your thing you sell. People want to know and trust you because you are the brand. Sad part is great CEOs are not good brand people. Their secretary is a better brand person than they are because they understand the product, they understand the people, and they may even speak better than the CEO. I want to help people transform that. So contact me, trigger@rocktostagemedia.com. Contact either one of these guys. They know how to get in touch with me, and I would love to help you.
I want to say thank you to Rich Trigger at Bontrager, Wayne Pratt from Motivate You Inc., but more importantly, you, the Knack for Business listeners. At the end of the day, this information is for you. And you're hearing about Rich and how he idolized show legends in the past that helped him bring out the best in his ability to deliver a message. Whether it's you, or your chief marketing officer, or your chief communications officer that's going to be doing the push out of information, Rich is there to help you deliver both vocally, video, audio, whatever means you need to do. Except he probably won't help you do the singing part.
To reach the podcast hosts, email them at info@creativeinsight.com or by the website creativeinsight.com, spelled KREATINSIHT.com. To reach Wayne at his email, wayne@motivateyou.ca, that is MOTIVE, the numeral 8 and the letter u.ca, or his website, motivateyou.ca. If you would like to be a guest on this podcast and share your knowledge, let us know. We would also appreciate your feedback on the content or format. Check the show notes for more details. For these podcasts, we like to acknowledge the support and thanks to the following people. Carl Richards from Podcast Solutions Made Simple, a renowned podcast expert. Fred Crouch, who is the Property Wizard podcaster, where Bernie is a co-host. Jovan Strika from At Hive, a co-working space that is more than just a space. Then Melanie Weber, Bernie's invaluable business partner, and Wayne Pratt from Motivate You Inc., who serves as both a coach and co-host of these podcasts. Disclaimer, please note that the Knack for Business podcast episodes are meant solely for educational and general informational purposes. The information and opinions contained within are not intended to be professional advice on any subject matter. The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by the participants are their own personal beliefs and do not represent the views of the podcast hosts or any affiliated organizations. It is important to note that this podcast is not a replacement for consulting with certified experts in your area who possess knowledge of your unique situation. The hosts of the podcast, along with any participants or affiliated groups, do not take responsibility for any actions taken or not taken based on the information presented in this episode. It is highly recommended that individuals seek guidance from their own personal advisors in fields such as accounting, law, or other pertinent areas prior to undertaking any actions or making decisions that may impact their financial, legal, or other aspects of life.